Welcome, welcome. I'm here with Brad Dacus. He is a Juris Doctor, which means that he has his doctorate in everything lawyer and law. He is the president and founder of Pacific Justice Institute. And in the previous show, I just asked how in the world does what is now a big organization do so much for the little person, all this pro bono work, and how God has blessed.
Yeah, it's
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 amazing.
it really is amazing. And when people look at our output, like our number of cases, over 200 cases in active litigation, we help thousands every year with free counsel and resolution on the over 90% of them without litigation. They look at that, and then they see all the radio that we have. We have a show. It's probably the best half-hour radio show I've ever listened to. The guy who does it is okay. It's my show.
Well, how can they
I was joking. It's my show.
how can they hear you?
No, but it's called the Dacus Report,
Dacus.
and it's heard on over 1,000 radio outlets across the country. And we also have a commentary on over 800 outlets called The Legal Edge. And we also have a TV program streaming on multiple platforms called Faith and Law.
Faith and law.
Faith and Law. And we also have a show called Brad Dacus Live on the his channel .com streaming. And people say, like, how can you, when they look at all that we're doing in terms of
Yes.
litigation, the resources, the media, and then, of course, I do get on average. How do you do that? And I say, well, God has been very gracious to us, miraculously gracious, so that all our office space, the 36 offices we have across the country, all donated office space. And I just started with the first one. I think if God can do it the first time, he can do it the second time. He can do it the third time. So all donated office space. Almost all of it is donated utilities, which is really valuable. And then and then also on the legal side, our attorneys on staff, they make a fraction of what they would normally. So they're there with the right heart, and they work together collectively as a team with Zoom calls every week. So we save there as well. And then on the media side, we don't pay for any of our media. It just aired. I talked to one radio station once. It was out of Las Vegas, and a wonderful Christian station, and he had his salesman hat on, saying, "No, here, if you pay us this much, we can air your show, and this, and here's the discount we'll give you." Da da da. And I said, "Look, we don't pay for airtime. We put our resources into serving the body of Christ without charge." I said, "So the real question is whether or not you're willing to allow your station to be the lifeline for all our brothers and sisters of Christ throughout the Las Vegas area who need to know their rights and need to know that we're here to serve them and represent them without charge." I said, "That's really only the only question we need to look at today." And he shakes his head, he goes up and down, he goes, "We'll be the lifeline, yes, we'll air it." When you put it like that, we'll air
Yes.
it. And so it's just
No
God's favor. People know we're not a business type structure. I don't have a private jet. I don't have to, we don't have to hide what we're doing, Charity Navigators, which I encourage everyone to use Charity Navigators. I think it's .com or .org. And there they can put in the charity. It's secular. It's not Christian. Secular. And it gives an objective rating based on efficiency and transparency. And we have the highest rating of any legal group out there. And we work really hard to maintain that, to be above a reproach. And God blesses it. It really is incredible. And the people we have, yeah.
Can you share with us an incident maybe where you helped a family that was involved with either CPS or homeschooling issue or?
Yes, I've got several. So here's the CPS case. It was out of Placer County, California, near Sacramento. And it's a Christian family. The girl, she's in her early teens. She tells her friend that maybe she feels like she may be a boy on the inside, because this is all satanic planting in their minds. in children all throughout public schools across the country, but especially in states like California. So the friend tells the teacher tells the school counselor calls in CPS, social workers. Social workers visit with the family, and they say, so do you know you where your daughter has this concern? She goes, yeah, well, thanks for telling us. We're going to, she said, what are you going to do? And she goes, well, I said, well, we're a Christian family. We love our daughter, and we're going to get her, counseling with our church and our pastor. And, we believe the Bible has all the answers to all the things we're going through. And with good, Christian counseling, and the social worker says, oh, really? Yeah, no, you're not. Here's a warrant. We're taking your daughter.
Oh,
They took the
my.
daughter, and they filed for state guardianship under the authority of the state of California. Thank you, Governor Gavin Newsom, because this is what he supports. This is the evil and wickedness that this governor supports. And he'd love to have it throughout the country as if he had his way. Well, anyway, so they go to court to get guardianship so they can...
Well, when do they contact you?
Well, so they can start the injections and then do the surgical procedures.
Oh, no.
Before she's even 18, to start cutting off body parts masochistically. Well, the parents, after this happened, the parents were real upset, talked to the people, friends, church. They say, call Pacific Justice Institute. We were contacted. We went right into court, and we said, hold everything. And we petitioned the judge to hold off on allowing the guardianship and the injections.
Yes.
It took us 2 years
Wow.
to get her back to her family. We prevented the injections, prevented the surgical cutting off of body parts. And at the end of the process, the girl said, and she always wanted to be with her parents. It's not like she didn't want her
Yes.
parents. But she was forced away from her parents. At the last hearing, she said, Your Honor, I just want you to know that I really don't feel like I'm a boy anymore. And we won,
Yeah.
and she got back with her family. But we're now dealing with these crises cases all across the
Yes.
country, and we're the only legal ministry that I know that has any kind of an actual effort on a nationwide scale
Yes.
to really address these issues.
Yes. Now, what about a homeschool?
Homeschooling. Yes, we've had a number of homeschooling cases. We had one where they came in with like a SWAT team. And a little house, Nevada City, California. They came in, barged down the door with a warrant that wasn't signed by a judge. And the mother's sharp, and she says, "No, this is not signed by a judge. I'm not letting you in." They got impatient, went through the windows, traumatized the children, took the kids. We got the children brought back with the family, and I personally represented her. This is years ago, and I told the judge, I says, "We want these truancy charges dropped." I says, Pierce v. Society Sisters, Myers v. Nebraska, Wisconsin v. Yoda, the Supreme Court made it very clear that parents have a fundamental right over the education of their children. I said her right is being violated. We will take this all the way to the Supreme Court if necessary. The judge looked at me and he realized, oh, shoot. Looked at the prosecution attorney and says, I've heard some very compelling arguments here. Counselor, you think we get this matter resolved next 30 days? And I says, Your Honor, but every day is a violation. He goes, Counselor, did you hear what I just said? I just asked to get this resolved next 30 days. You're not saying, you want me to give you a decision right? I said, no, Your Honor, that's fine. So we got the charges dropped, and then I told the mother, I says, okay, we can file a civil lawsuit, and we can make an example of this. We can clarify the issue in California once and for all. She goes, you know what? They're going to leave me alone. I says, you can get monetary damages. Here's what she goes, I just feel like God doesn't want me to do anything. I said, okay, we'll respect that. I want people to do as God calls them. And then God has his timing. And then a case cropped out of the appellate court coming from juvenile court. So we didn't hear about it until it was in the appellate court. 3 judges ruled that it's illegal to homeschool in California unless you are licensed and credentialed teacher. Well, how many homeschooling families
Yes.
have a licensed credentialed teacher as a parent? Not many. Well, we at Pacific Justice heard about this. We stepped in on behalf of the homeschooling curriculum company, the entity that does the homeschooling resources, on behalf of the parents. We stepped in, and we filed a lawsuit, and we petitioned them to rehear the case. Miraculously, they agreed to rehear the case. I've never seen this before, where 3 judges acknowledged they might have been wrong.
Yes.
So to quote Fonzie on Happy Days, I'm aging myself. Well, anyway, so they reheard the case, And then they just diced and sliced us in oral argument. It was like they were just prepping themselves for the case to win on appeal to the Supreme Court, the state Supreme Court. And people would call me, and Rose, they'd call me and they'd say, it's a case we're going to win. I said, it looks like we've lost it. I said, we're already preparing to take it to the state Supreme Court. The only way we can win is for God to intervene and change their minds, because they're obviously resolute against us and against homeschoolers. And people prayed, and they prayed. And it was a miracle. All three judges decided to reverse themselves and say, you do not have to be a credentialed teacher to homeschool in California.